President Wong, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen. I must first of all thank Dr. Liu for the kind invitation. This is in fact my first high table dinner, and I'm truly honored. In the invitation letter, I'm asked to talk about my personal experience and career development challenge. I'm a building contractor by profession, and as a contractor, I always follow the client's instructions. So I'm going to start something a bit personal first. My lovely wife May and I, we have 3 children together. Our eldest daughter Esther is a second-year student studying anthropology and archaeology in the University of Durham, UK right now. Dating back from 15 years ago, when she was still a child studying in kindergarten, I came home one day after work. She immediately went towards me and burst into tears, really crying very heavily. I was of course very shocked, and she said to me, "Daddy, my teacher told me that the rainforest is dying because we humans are cutting down the trees to build houses." Now, at that time, she already knew that I was a building contractor, and I built houses for a living. So in her little mind, she must be thinking, Daddy is a murderer for the rainforest. Well, in order to calm her down and to make her smile again, I made her a promise. I promised her one day, Daddy will not build houses using any timber at all, so that the rainforest does not have to die. I take that promise very seriously. And it was about the same time the company started investing very heavily in what we call system formwork and prefabricated constructions. To cut a very long story short, within the past 15 years, we have become the largest precast concrete supplier in our region. We occupy something like 50% of the market share in the building precast industry. We have one factory, it's about the size of 65,000 square meters in Shenzhen, and another 183,000 square meters in Guangzhou. And more importantly, we have cut down the timber usage for any given public housing project by as much as 95%. No timber is required at all for typical floor constructions. This year, at this very moment, we have figured out how to build a top roof, water tank, and a lift machine room without using any timber. And we can do it in a very cost-effective manner. So in my family, all my 3 children know about this promise really well. And whenever I make any progress, no matter it is big or small, I took pictures from my sites and reported back to them. So in some sense, my 3 children are like my board of directors. But the only bonus I received from them was a kiss on my cheek. But of course, as a father, I think that's probably sufficient. Now, interesting enough, because of these 2 precast factories, we have branched out to produce many other building components, such as drywall, aluminum window, cooking benches, metal gate set, etc. And now, our company, Jockey Constructions, are the most vertically integrated building contractor in Hong Kong. And with this capability, our company has grown to be one of the largest building contractors. Currently, we are building something like 22,000 units, with a contract value on hand over $32 billion. And we are employing something like 4,300 people. Now, I'm sure you have heard in Hong Kong people say, listen to your wife will make you rich. But in fact, the moral of my story is, listen to your children to make you richer. But the story does not end here. As a company, we have discovered that the more we incorporate green concept into our operations, the better we perform. Now recently, We have developed a hotel in Shanghai, actually not so far from here. It's called Holiday Inn Soho Express. Now we are the investor, and we also design and build the hotel. Therefore, we'll be able to try out many new ideas. It helps, of course. My company also owns one of the largest building services contracting firm. So I have a great deal of engineers in my command. So when we first started the project, I gathered some of my best engineers and challenged them to cut down the energy of this hotel as much as we possibly can with a reasonable amount of investment. And after 3 years of hard work, countless meetings, and a great deal of gray hair, we managed to cut down close to 60%, 60, of the energy required. Now just to give you some figures, for a typical 36-story building with 274 rooms, the energy consumption will be about 437 kilowatt-hour per meter square per year. 437. We designed the hotel to use 181 kilowatt-hour per meter square per year, with about 80% occupancy rate. Last year, our actual figures was 199 kilowatt-hour per meter square per year, with a 93% of occupancy rate. So in a per occupancy rate basis, we're actually performing better than our intended design. This hotel has won many building and environmental awards. We have achieved 4 highest green building assessment standards, including the Hong Kong Green Building Standard Green Plus Platinum, the US LEED Platinum, the Singapore Green Mark Platinum, and the China 3 stars. And it has become so renowned that it attracted over 1,000 building professionals came to pay a visit to us last year. And a couple of research papers have been published to study the performance of the hotel. Unfortunately, our view is not shared by the mainstream business community yet. Many companies, especially developers, are still seeking for more incentives before they will go green. I was in the Singapore Green Building Conference 2 months ago. There was a Malaysian gentleman from the Malaysian Developer Association stating that if there are no additional incentives for developers to make more profit, they will not push for more green buildings. As if the global warming is not a threat. As if we can be business as usual forever. Now, worldwide speaking, the building sector accounts for something like 40% in the global carbon emission. In Hong Kong, as well as very little manufacturing industry left, 90% of our power generated is consumed by building like this one, which represents over 60% of our carbon emission. Our current emission figures require some 2.6 planets to sustain. Now truly, this is not sustainable, nor responsible. So we, as a human race, cannot resolve our carbon emission problem without tackling the energy consumption for buildings. There are different estimations about how much more carbon the world can absorb before a major global disaster will occur. One renowned chemical professor recently stated that it is about 30 years. But some other scientists have suggested around 50 years. But nevertheless, if the life expectancy for male is about 83, and female is about 86 in Hong Kong, you would likely to have 60 or more years to live, which means you are the first generation in our human history to witness this possible global disaster. Yes, there is a thing about this. If we do not change, if we continue to live the same lifestyle as we do today, if we choose to be business as usual. You will encounter a disaster in your lifetime, and it will be unbearable for all of us. Of course, my 3 beloved children will suffer as well. My wife May have been very patient and supportive of me. I have to travel a lot. I just came back from Barcelona early this month for the World Sustainable Building Conference. And when I'm not traveling, I spend many hours both day and night in the Hong Kong Building Council. I receive 0 payment whatsoever. I choose to do it because I love my children. I want my children and possible grandchildren to have a decent future to live. It is not too late. Humans have solved many problems. A recent study shows that after the ban of CFC, the ozone layer is now recovering. The acid rain problem in North America has more or less been resolved, after we've taken out the sulfur dioxide from the air. The carbon emission in Europe has been stabilized in the last 3 years. There is still hope. Recently, I read an article. There's a research being done to turn carbon dioxide back into oxygen and usable fuel. So basically, reversing the chemical reaction for burning the fossil fuel, killing 2 birds in 1 stone. Since the industrial age, we have been damaging the world. And we need to undo the damage we already have made. So sustainability is no longer sufficient. We need to revitalize our planet. This is not an easy problem to resolve. And we need to solve it, which requires imaginations. And for a global issue like this, one needs to dream, and dream big. Therefore, what I think we need most, we need to have more people, especially young people like you, to dream. And to develop the know-how to turn your dream into reality. As a Hong Kong University student, you are the cream of our society. You are our future. And I urge you to think beyond 2017. Concern more than political reform in Hong Kong. Now, I do not mean they're not important, they are. But we are now living in a global village. We need to have a global perspective in order to lead Hong Kong in the next decades to come. Be a leader, be a role model, be prepared to turn a dream into reality. As a building engineer, I dream to develop what I refer to as Panther Zero high-rise building. 0 timber during construction, 0 external energy during operation, 0 carbon emission, 0 external water required, and lastly, 0 pollution. A classmate of mine contacted me after watching a TV interview done by RTHK, which I shared this dream of mine. And he said, "Conrad, this is impossible." And I replied, "Yes, you may be right." As we all thought, flying was impossible. Going to the moon was impossible. But, you know what? I'm going to try anyway. Today, or this year, I'm 50 years old. Even though I do not like it. I guess I will retire at that age around 65. So I have some 15 years to fulfill this dream of mine. If I cannot do it in my lifetime, I hope I can inspire some young people like you to carry it out. Just think for a moment. How would it impact our human civilization if we can somehow achieve this? And with the green building technology advancement, I would say this is not entirely impossible. Now, if I am going to build another high-rise hotel similar to the one in Shanghai again now, I'm 100% confident that I can cut down as much as 70% of the energy required. Now, I understand the last 30% will be extremely difficult. But what's the downside for cutting more energy? What's the harm for carbon reduction? Now, because of this dream, I need to upgrade myself. I'm studying in City University of Hong Kong as a part-time PhD student. Area of research, you may have guessed by now, energy optimization. Now I'm trying to build a computer algorithm by using artificial neural network and trying to determine the lowest energy required for the building central air conditioning system in a given ambient conditions and cooling demand. Basically, I'm analyzing the hotel's data in order to develop this control system. And I believe a 20% more saving from the air conditioning side is possible. I have transformed my hotel into a large-scale experiment. Step by step, I'm turning my dream into reality. So the moral of the story is, to fulfill one's dream is always exciting. But to make an impossible dream to come true, that's beyond words. That makes life worth living for. Do not underestimate your ability. Do not underestimate the influence that Hong Kong can make. Now, St. Yin Secondary School, St. Yin Zhonghua, has been named the greenest school on earth by the U.S. Green Building Council. Its design and operation have been viewed as the best example of an urban school. Now, my hotel in Shanghai has attracted a great deal of attention in the green building world. We have showcased our latest result in the last Barcelona Sustainable Building Conference, and many people were amazed what we have achieved. After I took over the chairmanship of the Hong Kong Green Building Council, we have launched what we call the Hong Kong 30/30 campaign. Basically, what we're saying is, we target to reduce the entire Hong Kong building energy consumption by 30% in the year 2030, using the year 2005 as a benchmark. This is very important, so let me repeat. What we're saying is, we target to reduce the entire Hong Kong building energy consumption by 30% in the year 2030. That's why I call Hong Kong 30/30, using year 2005 as a benchmark. Now, we submitted this proposal to the Environmental Bureau, and hopefully it will be incorporated in the coming Hong Kong energy reduction roadmap, which at this very moment, Mr. K.S. Wong and Christino, they're working very hard to produce this roadmap, and hopefully we will publish, I think, probably in January next year. Now, this campaign has inspired and excited many building professionals, because if we can achieve this target, and together, if we can change to a cleaner energy fuel mix, say from coal to natural gas, we will be able to reduce our carbon emission back to one planet level. Hong Kong will contribute our fair share of carbon reduction, and we can demonstrate to the world that it can be done. Now, this campaign has recently been examined by the World Green Building Council, which I'm also a director. In our last board meeting, we had an extensive debates about setting up a similar target for the entire world. And after discussion, I was asked to set up a small task force to give recommendations back to the board. Suddenly, I was stunned. For a few seconds, I did not know how to respond. Because never in my wildest dream, I could have this privilege to establish an energy reduction target for the entire world. Once again, Hong Kong can be a great showcase for what can be done. We have excellent talents, and our social infrastructure is sound and solid. We are seen by many developing countries and cities to be the role model. So what we do in Hong Kong does matter. Be a good example. This is how we can impact the world. I have a niece. She's a straight A student, extremely talented young lady. She went to Imperial College London to learn medicine and obtained a master's degree in Cambridge. She's a transplant surgeon now. We were having lunch one day and she asked me, Uncle Conrad, which profession is more noble than saving lives? Of course, being a medical doctor is a very noble profession indeed. No one can disagree with that. But suddenly, just out of the blue, I answer, saving the planet. As you can imagine, I have numerous discussions with my 3 children about the choice of the career. And I think many people have been mistaken. I've heard so many individuals telling young people like you to choose something that they like, something they enjoy doing. I think this is false. Or this is not entirely true. I would advise you to choose something which is truly meaningful to you. Or even better, truly meaningful to the society or to the world. I like or enjoy many things, but I do not choose them as my career. I like good food, I like fine dining, but I don't choose to be a chef. I like watching movies, but I don't choose to be a film director. A career choice, in my opinion, should be something that's meaningful to you and be able to explore the fullness of the potential. Nowadays, the meaning of my career is to save the planet and improve well-being of people by using green buildings. I love the quote from President Kennedy when he announced the Apollo program to send men to the moon. We choose to do it not because they are easy, but because they are hard. And today I want to share with you, we choose a profession not because it's to your liking, but because it's meaningful to you. Because in a very large extent, your career defines who you are and expresses the best of the potential. It is your response to life with all the inner gifts that you already possess. So the final moral of my story is, choose to take up responsibility, be a leader, be a role model. Continue to improve your ability to fulfill your dream. Define your meaning and create possible impact to the world. You can only live once. You deserve a greener, better, and meaningful future. Now with that note, may I give you one challenge. How do you make this new college to be the greenest college on earth? Now that's up to you to decide. If you choose to take up this challenge, many years later, when you look back, you will not believe the impact you have created today. Thank you very much for attention.